Hi guys, it's Raven. Welcome to my channel. This video is going to be a little bit different. I'm standing like in a weird different spot too. There's a T-Mobile bag behind me. Okay. Anyway, okay. I am going to be doing a story time, and in the story time, I'm going to be doing a story time of when I decided to leave my ex-husband. Yeah. I went back and forth with my flashlight's on my phone. Okay, I went back and forth with if I should do this, if I shouldn't, but at the end of the day, this is my channel and it's something that I want to talk about in hopes that I can help someone else thinking about this or going through a similar situation. So yeah, I don't think I will be editing anything out this video. There's really no need to. I'm just gonna tell you the lead up, some of the lead up to it, and some of the how I came to the decision I came to, and yeah. So I will not be going into details about some things because I do have 4 children with my ex-husband, and I don't, even though my older boys remember things that I don't even remember. I don't know if I just blocked them out of my memory, but I do have 2 younger children that I try not to paint their father in a bad light at all. They do know certain things, but I don't talk to them about anything negative with them. They have enough things that, you know, they already know. So therefore, I'm going to talk about my story time. Hopefully they never see this video. Hopefully they don't even pull it up, because they don't pull up my boring stuff. So this will be boring to them. So here we go. Basically, a little bit about me. I was married to my first husband for 7 years. Okay, I was married for about 7 years, and basically it was abusive even before we got married. I was under the impression that I could change him, or that time would change him, or that God would change him. I was praying, I was in my word, I was doing everything that I was taught to do. I was Proverbs 31, Titus 2, all that good stuff, and I felt like, you know, I was doing what I was supposed to do so that, you know, everything would be taken care of. It basically just started to get worse, to where I really started to fear for my life. And it came to that because when he would hit me, it would be like, oh my gosh, I'm really talking about this. Okay, he would hit me, but at the end of it, he would say, I'm sorry, or, you know, he would say, I'm sorry, but then it got to a point where he stopped saying he was sorry, and I knew that, you know, it was kind of like, I would like to say I probably became like, it was just our thing, like, you know, we got into an argument, I walked on eggshells a lot. He said he was sorry, and we went back to normal. That was just our relationship dynamic. But at this time, he was not like, and the abuse was coming from things I couldn't prevent. Before I kind of knew how to prevent it, I knew trigger words not to say. I knew, you know, I shouldn't be on the phone with my mom when he came home. I shouldn't be on the phone with my dad when he came home. I shouldn't be on the phone. Don't have friends. Don't talk about other people. Stay isolated. The more isolated I stayed, the better. But we had just moved to a state that we were from, and I stopped being isolated. I was going places with my mom. My family had come over for like holidays, things like, well, Thanksgiving like one. And I just don't think he liked it, and I just wasn't changing who I was anymore for him. I had more of a voice, and I just feel like he didn't like it. So he started to use what's it called? He started to use oh, Raven, come on, get it out. Verbal abuse. Before it was just physical. I don't know how you can do the physical without the verbal, but he did, and I was just like, okay. Once he started calling me names, he would call me dummy, stupid, you know, tell me I'm never going to amount to nothing. I would that's exactly what it was said. He you know, he said you would never be nothing. That's what he used. So I think for me that was just like, it processed in my brain differently. Now some people would be like, you know, I would never let someone hit me. If they hit me, I would leave. And for me, it was just the verbal part that was it. I don't know if it was because I saw my mom go through a verbally abusive relationship, if that was a trigger for me. I think it was, but I'm not here to talk about her. So basically I decided that I needed to pack up my 3 children, and I was pregnant at the time. I think I was about 3 months pregnant. Yeah. It's a long story that I'm not going to talk about right now. I remember when I did find out I was pregnant with the 4th, I was very embarrassed because people knew what was going on, and sometimes, yeah, that's one thing I'm not going to talk about because my children are alive. Anyway, fast forward to the lead up of me deciding that I had to leave. Was just, like I said, was just the continual fighting, arguing, every day with something, like every single day with something. He also had gotten in trouble at work, so that was also a red flag for me. I knew that usually he would take his anger out on me, so he would come home, and I guess if things didn't go bad at work, he would take it out on me. But his job had said that he did something to someone at work, and when that happened, I got scared because I felt like it was just a new level that I just wasn't even, sorry, it was a new level that I wasn't even used to. So I was like, I don't even know how to deal with this, like, because I know how to deal with him at home, I don't know how to deal with, you know, getting in trouble at work. It's 2 different people, like, what's going on here? So I decided to read a book. I was trying to, like, find ways to leave, if I should leave, what I should do. Like I said, I grew up in church, and so I was just like, oh goodness gracious, Raven, get it out. I grew up in church, and I won't even say this is because I grew up in church, but I knew that divorce was bad, and God didn't like divorce, and, you know, all that stuff. So I put, like, a judgment on myself, you know, and saying that I need to stay. We went through counseling. I went through counseling by myself. We went through counseling together. Don't do that. I couldn't talk about anything. It was like, it was a waste of time. Like, it was like the biggest waste of time. I actually so I read a book by, I can't remember his last name. His name is Paul Hegstrom, and it's called Angry Men and the Women Who Love Them: Breaking the Cycle of Physical and Emotional Abuse. Paul Hegstrom was a pastor, and he abused his wife. His wife left him, and he basically mapped out everything, like how it happens, the cycle of abuse, how men will, and he talked about it from a man's perspective, but the cycle, like how it's like, okay, you know, the fight, and basically it ends with, the cycle has to end with a sexual relationship for the man to realize that he's back in to good graces, basically. So from reading that book, I knew that when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so true. Like, I wish I could go, and I don't. I read it, it's been, let me see, 6-7 years ago. Yeah, oh my goodness, it's been that long. But I read this book that long ago, and it was like right on point. I read it in a day, and I was like, I have to leave, because if I don't leave, I don't know what's going to happen to me, and I'm of more value to my children struggling by myself than here not struggling, but you know, getting my brains beat out, or you know. Anyway, so I decided to leave, and my fear of why I stayed was always that I couldn't take care of my kids by myself. I didn't know how I would do it. I went to college online, but I never finished any of my degrees. I went to cosmetology school, but didn't finish that. And yeah, so all I knew was working for myself. I worked for myself, and I just didn't know how to do that on my own. So one day well, I say one day, but it was all a lead up and a plan. I mean, it led up to it by me first getting my own bank account without him knowing about it, and hiding the paperwork, and you know, any extra money I got, sticking it in there. So basically, the day that I did decide to leave, it was a normal day. And when I say normal, it was normal. I knew it was a good time because we had two cars. His car was actually the clutch, or the shifter wasn't working. It had to be fixed. So I knew that I could leave without being chased down or found or because I had to drive him to work. So I drove him to work that morning. It was a regular day. Drove him to work. I actually had a doctor's appointment that day to find out what the gender of the baby I was carrying was. So we did that. Well, I went and did that. So I dropped him off at work, went home, went to my doctor's appointment. He called that same day, and he was like, what is it? And I told him we were having a boy. So like I said, everything was just normal. I kept it normal. I didn't ignore any phone calls. I answered them all. I went home. Stop. I'm not doing, okay. I went home, and I got all my kids, oh my gosh, I'm crying. Why am I crying? Okay, I went home, I think because I'm about to talk about my kids. Sorry. Okay, I went home, and I got everything I could fit of my kids from their room. Clothes. I was driving a minivan, so I went and I just got all their stuff and threw it in bags that I thought they would need and want. They were at school. I only had my daughter with me home, so I threw all their stuff in bags that I could fit in the car, and I went and grabbed a few outfits for me, like probably 2 or 3. But I grabbed all the stuff, any toy that I thought they would want, and I threw it in my minivan. My brother came over to help me a little later, I want to say, and we threw everything that we could fit in that car that was of importance in that car. I tried to grab everything that I knew that I couldn't replace. And I knew my kids, you know, their toys, I couldn't replace it. To this day, I am told that I forgot to grab their wrestling championship belts. Sorry. But yeah, so I grabbed that stuff, threw it in my car. I had a little space, so I went right upstairs. We lived in a 2 whatever, and I grabbed my TV out my room, and because it fit. And then I waited outside for the school bus to come. The school bus came, and I said, get in the car. And I'm like, where are we going? And I'm like, get in the car. And they got in the car, and we rode out. We left. I left. And I drove. I went to the Red Box to get some movies for the kids in the car, and I drove and drove, and I did not stop until I was leaving New York and driving south. I knew that if I answered a phone call from him, if I was still in New York, I would have turned around. So I did not answer a phone call from him until I hit the state of North Carolina. Yes, phone calls were coming in, and it was just, I knew, I wasn't scared because I knew he didn't have a car to follow me. And I knew myself that if I answered the phone, if I was even in New York or Jersey, I was turning around. That was what I was doing. So yeah, I left. And I don't regret it. There are lots of things that happened after. I mean, my life was not, after I left, my life was not like, you know, flowers and roses and, you know, a sigh of relief. I got down to Florida, and I want to say 3 weeks later, I had trouble breathing. I didn't know why, and to this day I still don't know why, but I really feel like it was just my body responding to stress. I would be sitting and like it was like my chest was hollowing out. So I was like I couldn't breathe, and I had to go to the hospital when I got home here, and they thought I had blood clots, but I didn't. And I was in the ICU, like being monitored with like they had like cameras of people like in the ICU. I guess down here they have like, they look at you, and they have nurses that, I don't know, they check you from a remote location, just looking to make sure you're okay. I'm still here, and I'm fine, and I now can breathe, and my baby is fine too. So yeah, I'm gonna stop it here because it is a 17-minute video, and I'm not editing this at all. I feel like I just really wanted to, I hope that this video will find someone who is thinking of that has a similar situation and is thinking that they can't make it, they won't be able to make it. You know, you will make it. I am living proof that you will make it. It won't be easy, but you know, the easy stuff isn't worth it anyway. Like, and this situation, if you're going through it, is going to make you the strongest person in the world. Can't nobody mess with you. I used to be like this. I was very closed up, quiet, reserved person. I thought I was, but that's something else. I feel like my ex saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself, and it was he felt like he needed to shut that up and keep me in my place. And yeah, so leaving, like I said, it wasn't an overnight process. It was a whole bunch of other drama after that, because he found us. And yeah, that's a whole nother story. But you know, I wound up, I think a year or so later, finally deciding that I needed to divorce him, and put it on paper because of the control issue. But you know, actually it was a little longer than that. But like I said, I hope this video finds someone that it can help and that is going through this, or it feels like they can't make it, if you feel like you can't leave a person because you don't have the money, you don't have the education, you don't have a job. Everything will work out. I left. I got my CNA license. I got it in, I took a 2-week course and got it, where most people go through school for like longer than that to get it. I went and took a course and I got my CNA license, and I went and worked my butt off. There are resources, there are things that you can do. Put your pride down and, you know, live for your kids, live for yourself, build yourself up mentally, and do what you need to do to stay strong. This video is now about 20 minutes. Oh my goodness. I'm going to stop it here and say thank you so much for watching, and I hope this video finds someone that it can help. And if you are in an abusive relationship, please, you know, do what's right for you, do what's right for you, and get safe. Like, it's never okay to stay in an abusive relationship. I'm not going to tell anyone to do it. Separate yourself. You have to separate yourself from it. You know, I hear people that do come back from them. The guy that I talked about in the book, they actually divorced, and years later they got back, they remarried. You know, it can change for some people if the other person is willing to go get help, but the other person has to be willing to go get help. And in my situation, my ex-husband did not want to get help. He didn't think anything was wrong with him. He didn't think anything was wrong with me. He threw the Bible at me. He threw verses at me as to why it was okay for him to beat me. Therefore, I left. And there you go. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for watching. I can't believe I did this. And this is half this journey because I have to now upload it. But thanks for watching, and